Hello, you're tuning in the English News Bulletin on QPVN channel. I'm Nguyen, and now let me keep you up to date with the headlines. Further enhancing effective implementation of foreign affairs and international integration task. Vietnam Ministry of National Defense and Russian Maritime Board foster cooperation. Vietnam and U.S. promote cooperation in overcoming war consequences. On the morning of September the 15th in Hanoi, the General Department of Defense Industry held a ceremony to celebrate its 80th founding anniversary, September the 15th, and received the Hero of the People's Armed Forces title. Party General Secretary To Lâm attended the ceremony. Also attending were General Phan Văn Giang, Minister of National Defense, General Trịnh Văn Quyết, Chairman of the General Political Department of the Vietnam People's Army, among others. At the ceremony, Party General Secretary To Lâm awarded the title Hero of the People's Armed Forces for the second time to the General Department of Defense Industry for its outstanding achievements in researching, manufacturing, and repairing high-tech, new-generation strategic weapons and equipment, contributing to the cause of building socialism and national defense. Through 80 years of its development, the General Department of Defense Industry has successfully completed the production orders for more than 140 types of military weapons, built nearly 140 new military ships, and repaired over 380 ships of all types within just 5 years. Speaking at the ceremony, Party General Secretary To Lâm praised the achievements and great contribution of generations of officers, soldiers, and staff of the General Department. He requested the Central Military Commission and the Ministry of National Defense to focus on leading and directing the General Department to effectively implement a number of key contents, such as regularly grasping, seriously and effectively implementing the policies and directions of the party, state, and military on developing the defense industry sector, closely combining defense with economic missions. On the afternoon of the same day, Party General Secretary To Lâm chaired a meeting with the Party Committee of the Vietnamese Ministry of Foreign Affairs and relevant agencies. Attending the event were General Phan Văn Giang, Minister of National Defense, General Lương Tam Quang, Minister of Public Security, and leaders of central departments, ministries, and agencies. On behalf of the Party Committee of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Party Central Committee Secretary, Acting Minister of Foreign Affairs Lê Hoài Trung affirmed that, although peace, cooperation, and development remain major trends, the global situation is evolving rapidly, complexly, and unpredictably, impacting the security and development environment of the country in multiple dimensions. In this context, the crucial task of foreign affairs in the coming time is to contribute to maintaining a peaceful and stable environment for national development, paving the way for a new era of strong and prosperous national development. Party General Secretary To Lâm highly appreciated the heartfelt and profound contribution from the leaders of the Party Committee of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the Central Military Commission, and the Central Public Security Party Committee. He urged the Party Committee of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs to continue closely coordinating with other departments, ministries, sectors, and localities in proactively, comprehensively, and effectively implementing foreign affairs and international integration tasks. He particularly advised the Party Committee to closely grasp the situation, further enhance the quality, effectiveness, and timeliness of research and advisory work for the party and state leaders on major strategic decisions and policies of the country. Also on September the 15th, President Lương Cường, Chairman of the National Defense and Security Council, Commander-in-Chief of the People's Armed Forces, addressed the opening ceremony of the 2025-2026 academic year of the National Defense Academy. The event also saw the attendance of General Nguyễn Tân Cương, Chief of the General Staff and Deputy Defense Minister, and Lieutenant General Đỗ Xuân Tụng, Vice Chairman of the General Political Department. President Luân Cuồng praised the National Defense Academy as a bright spot in scientific research, strategic advice, and theoretical development, contributing to improving the leadership, direction, and management capacity of the party and state. The training results of the academy have made remarkable contributions to building the military, consolidating national defense, protecting the fatherland in advance and from afar, maintaining political and social stability, creating a solid foundation for the cause of building and safeguarding the fatherland. President Luân Cuồng suggested the cadres, instructors, and learners at the academy continue to study and effectively implement major policies of the party and state on the task of training high-ranking officials and safeguarding the fatherland. The academy was also asked to improve the effectiveness of cooperation in training and scientific research, eyeing to become a leading, advanced, and modern strategic academy in the region with prestige and an influence at the global stage. On September the 15th, General Phan Van Giang, Minister of National Defense, hosted a reception and held talks with Mr. Nikolai Patrushev, Assistant to the President and Chairman of the Federal Maritime Board of Russia. Also attending were Mr. Gennady Bejetko, Russian Ambassador to Vietnam, Second Lieutenant General Nguyễn Trường Thắng, Deputy Minister of National Defense, Second Lieutenant General Phạm Trường Sơn, Deputy Chief of the General Staff. General Phan Van Giang affirmed that the Vietnamese people always remember and appreciate the great and wholehearted assistance of the former Soviet Union and Russia in the struggle for national independence and reunification, and in the cause of national construction and protection today. Recently, the Vietnamese Ministry of National Defense built the Vietnam-Soviet Union Solidarity and Friendship Statue Complex at the Vietnam Military History Museum to pay tribute to Soviet military advisors who helped Vietnam, contributing to further strengthening the traditional friendship between the two countries. General Phan Van Giang expressed his delight to see the growing defense cooperation between Vietnam and Russia, notably in the fields of Navy, training, marine scientific research within the framework of the Vietnam-Russia Tropical Center, cooperation and exchange of experiences in managing and protecting national borders. Mr. Nikolai Patrushev believes in the great potential and prospects in cooperation between the two sides and affirmed that the cooperation contents that the two sides promote in the coming time would make positive and effective contributions to the Vietnam-Russia Comprehensive Strategic Partnership. General Phan Van Giang affirmed Vietnam's consistent stance on the East Sea or South China Sea internationally issue that relevant parties need to comply with international laws, especially the 1982 UN clause, comply with the DOC of parties in the East Sea, promote early conclusion of the COC of parties in the East Sea. Concluding the talks, the two sides signed an MOU on consultation in the maritime fields between the Vietnamese Ministry of National Defense and the Russian Maritime Board. Also on September the 15th, in Dong Nai Province, Second Lieutenant General Hoàng Xuân Chiến, Deputy Minister of National Defense, head of the Standing Agency of the National Steering Committee 701, chaired the handover of remediated land, the groundbreaking of a thermal treatment system, and the signing of a supplementary non-refundable ODA agreement to improve the lives of people with disabilities in priority provinces. Attending the event were Mr. Mark Evan Nappers, U.S. Ambassador to Vietnam, and Major General Nguyễn Bá Lực, Deputy Chief of the General Staff of the Vietnam People's Army. Second Lieutenant General Hoàng Xuân Chiến stressed that these events have continued writing a humane journey that both the Vietnamese and the U.S. governments have carried out together, affirming the common determination in cooperation to overcome the post-war consequences in the spirit of putting aside the past and looking toward the future for peace and sustainable development. In the coming time, the Ministry of National Defense, the Standing Agency of the National Steering Committee 701, hopes that the U.S. as well as other countries, international organizations, and partners will share, cooperate, and support resources for the Vietnamese Ministry of National Defense to complete the treatment of the whole area of dioxin-contaminated land in Vietnam, as well as foster support and care for Agent Orange dioxin victims. U.S. Ambassador to Vietnam Mark Napper affirms that the achievements in dioxin treatment cooperation not only help improve the environment and lives of Vietnamese people, but also contributes to strengthening strategic trust between the two countries, which is an important step to lift Vietnam-U.S. relations to a new height, especially when the two sides are celebrating 30 years of normalization of diplomatic relations. At the ceremony, the U.S. Embassy in Vietnam granted the certification of the cleanup of about 6 hectares of land at Biên Hòa Air Base area. The National Action Center for Toxic Chemicals and Environmental Treatment signed an agreement on an additional $32 million in non-refundable ODA from the U.S. to expand disability support programs in areas heavily sprayed with dioxin. For 80 years, under the leadership of the Communist Party of Vietnam, President Ho Chi Minh, and directly the Central Military Commission and the Ministry of National Defense, the General Staff has overcome countless difficulties and challenges, successfully completing every assigned task. Throughout its development, the General Staff's military and defense foreign affairs activities have always played a particularly important role, making great contributions to the cause of national liberation, construction, and protection, and enhancing the position and prestige of the party, state, the military in the region and the world. Qpvn reporter had an interview with Senior Lieutenant General Phùng Sĩ Tấn, Deputy Chief of the General Staff of the Vietnam People's Army, to have a better insight in this issue. Senior Lieutenant General, how does strategic forecast and staff work mean to defense diplomacy in the current situation? In the context of complex and unpredictable developments in the world and the region, strategic forecast and staff work for defense diplomacy play a crucial strategic role in protecting the fatherland from early and from afar. First, strategic forecast and staff work for defense diplomacy helps us to orient and formulate appropriate defense cooperation policies that align with the foreign policy of the party, the state, and the military, ensuring the principles of independence, self-reliance, and integration for peace, cooperation, and development. This is the foundation for building a solid defense diplomatic posture, closely combining the protection of national sovereignty with the expansion of international relations and balancing national security with a peaceful and stable environment for development. Second, in the current situation, strategic forecast and staff work for defense diplomacy plays a key role in building and consolidating strategic trust with partners and actively participating in bilateral and multilateral defense cooperation mechanisms. Third, this also plays an important part in preparing forces, plans, coordination mechanisms in response to non-traditional security challenges, especially natural disasters, epidemics, search and rescue, and participation in UN peacekeeping operations. This demonstrates the responsibility, humanitarian spirit, and compassion of the Vietnam People's Army in the eyes of international friends. Could you please share some of the creative approaches that the General Staff has implemented to enhance the effectiveness of strategic forecast and staff work for defense diplomacy in the new context? First, based on the long-term strategic goals of national defense, the General Staff has advised the Central Military Commission and the Ministry of National Defense to develop defense diplomatic plans that meet the requirements of the task and the actual situation, including any available opportunities and risk, on the basis of firmly grasping the external security environment. Second, the General Staff directs the whole military to firmly grasp the situation, enhance forecasting capabilities, clearly distinguish between adversaries and partners, combine cooperation with struggle, and resolutely and persistently resolve contradictions and differences on the basis of international law. It adheres to strategic goals while being flexible and soft in tactics. It closely links advisory work with building a revolutionary, regular, highly skilled, and modern military. It strengthens such activities as training cooperation, joint exercises, humanitarian relief coordination, and peacekeeping. Third, the General Staff has promoted the application of technology and the innovation of methods for directing and managing defense diplomatic activities, organizing meetings and conferences with foreign partners that combine in-person and online formats, and building a database system for multilateral defense cooperation. All have helped enhance flexibility, save resources, and remain effective. It can be said that in the context of complex regional and global developments, the General Staff has demonstrated its role as the main strategic advisory body with vision and innovative thinking. It has made important contributions to the effective implementation of the policy of protecting the fatherland from early and from afar, and maintaining a peaceful, stable environment, a vital factor for the nation's sustainable development in the period of deep international integration. Thank you, Mr. Deputy Chief of the General Staff.
And that's all for now. Remember, you can always watch the news again at qpvn.vn. Thank you for watching and hope to see you next time.